So I'm Christine Kerr, as the slide says, and I am going to talk about, well actually I'm not going to talk about technology, but I'm going to introduce some people who are going to talk about technology. What's interesting to me is that in fact, none of these presenters in our technology segment are actually going to talk about AV or lighting, which I think is really good. They might talk about how it's integrated into a project, but it is not the only subject, which is kind of cool. So we're going to learn about rides, we're going to learn about snow, and we're going to learn about and we're going to learn about some other things, audio as well. So hopefully it's an interesting perspective for all of us. First up, I would like to welcome Edward Marks from Producers Group. He is founder and co-CEO of Producers Group, and he is going to talk about ride integration. Edward.
All right. Hello. Yes. Okay. That's a fantastic sound. Is that me or you? That's a new sound. All right. All right, here. Here, I think you heard it. No, you're okay. This right here. Sorry. It's the shirt. It's the shirt. Remove all the shirt. It's the shirt. I'm stopping at this jacket, all right? Let's keep it clean, everyone, all right? Relax. Jeez. Hell of a crowd. There we go. That's perfect. Solved. All right, let's talk about technology, huh? Okay. Hello. All right. That's good. We'll do one in each hand. Okay. So, you did? All right. So, I'm going to walk you through a presentation that I've done quite a few times. This is a piece of it. It's really just about production. So I'm going to need you to suspend some schedule stuff here for a minute so I can walk you through this. Design's done. Okay? So we're happy. We're moving into production. We're going to talk about that part. Okay? And what production means. What complex integration means. How that part, how it all comes together. What are the steps and the parts, as it were. So it's not just about the building. So much of this region focuses on structure and move-in. And it's not that. It's a much more complicated process. And it's about, which is the important part here, the entire design intent emotion. The emotion in the physical space. So we're talking about capturing, one of the coolest things about what I do, what I love about what I do, is that we get to create emotion using technology, using equipment, using solenoids and pneumatic parts and lights and equipment and projectors and all of this stuff, and we present this emotion, this human emotion, through technology, and it's just this most spectacular thing. When it works, it's just amazing. So I'm going to walk you through I'm going to show actually a video here that walks you through a project that I was part of, that I was very excited to be part of, and it really goes from the design through the theater work, all the way, and it shows the whole step, and this is what we call, when we say complex integration, when we say crazy millions of parts in a single space, this is it. Might be loud. Sure. Yeah, there's music, there's audio.
The story of the dancing cranes was an evolution. There would be these giant moving sculptures floating on an island, was the original piece. The owner wanted something that had heart. We wanted people to respond to it. And so that struck a really good chord with me because it's all about story. Everything, even a painting, is about a story.
We were brought onto the cranes to get the attraction open. We did that by really bringing on an amazing team. The attraction itself was on an extremely ambitious schedule and an ambitious budget. Our job was to interface directly with the client, Resorts World Sentosa. It was a fantastic relationship. We were able to come in and really explain our process to them and really ingrain ourselves into the team there. Yeah, that's what integration looks like.
The most difficult thing about this attraction is that we are actually transferring from the physical crane into the digital crane. So whereas they start as automatons, right at the beginning on their stomachs, you see cogs and wheels turning. As they dance and get to know each other, so then the transformation happens.
There you go. So that's crane dance, and that's what complex integration looks like. That employed hundreds and hundreds of people, several folks in this room. So let me continue. So I'm going to walk you through the stages of production, and this is what I call our production, show production. The idea of massive themed attractions going into these wonderful spaces all over the world. this is how we do it. This is the process, this is the steps, these are the things we go through to make it work. So I'm going to walk you through these very quickly because I'm already running short on time. So content development and fabrication supervision, that's the portion of this work where we're making the pieces off-site, and the media, the video, all those components. What are those components? Those are the physical elements of the production. What physical elements? The ride system, the set, the lighting, the audio equipment, the video hardware, the show control systems, the special effects hardware, the animated figures, the costumes, the props, the flame equipment, the pyro equipment, the graphics, the rigging equipment, the show mechanical hardware. Am I missing anything? Yeah, rock work and media and music composition, and all of these pieces and parts have to be figured out, designed, and placed within a single element. We're working on a project right now, and there's an exploding helicopter that comes flying through the door in a single moment. This giant special effect that we're working on. Extremely proud of you. We'll tell you all that in a couple months. But for that one element to occur, pyro, audio, lighting, video, flame, show action, show props, scenery, safety systems, all have to work together at the exact same moment within a single system to create one effect. That's the integration we're talking about. So the point of the content development is what is the goal? What are we trying to do here? Where are we going? And oops, sorry, I went too far. Sorry. The point of this is to get everything made, everything fabricated, and get the building ready for moving. So, quite a few pieces to do that. So that's actually one of the early renders of the crane dance media. These are actually one of the first motion pieces that was created with our friends over at Burkitt. And then the top two components up there, where it says the cranes lock eyes, that's actually show direction from the original script as we were going through it. So we're lining it up from a timing automatic for the sequence. So there you are. All right. So I'm going to quickly go through another quick video here. This is a different project that was in Tampa, Florida, that is more ride, a little more scenic, and different idea, same sort of process. So this was a new attraction that was going into Busch Gardens, Tampa in Florida, and it was a bit of a hybrid between a redo of an existing space and a new attraction area. So we had to reuse a bit of their Mummy Tomb attraction from before, which was a walkthrough attraction, and then turn that into our pre-show and queue house, and then do the show connected to that. And this was for Busch Gardens. This was really their first real big push into themed entertainment, into big themed attractions. They were typically a roller coaster park, and wanted to sort of bring it to the next step. One of the cool features of this attraction is a very close projection map scene in the pre-show. I think we have a little section as well here. This room. So this is in the queue, this scene. So that's Cobra's curse. Okay, so let's talk about facility ready and what facility ready means. Everyone know what that means? That's probably one of the terms that finds its way into every conversation. Facility ready, this is dust free, this is, are we ready to actually start the process? Right here. Dust free. Dust free. Everybody knows that term, right? That's a very popular term in China. I hear it all the time. It's spoken in every meeting. Every meeting we talk about dust free. Every project we talk about dust free.
Dust is free.
Dust free is a very interesting term. It is actually a term that's used to protect the equipment. It's a term that's used to do the job and make sure the warranty is right. It is not something that we use to hold against developers and to make the process more difficult. It is seen as that by a lot, but it isn't actually that. It's actually designed to make sure that the equipment goes in, that it doesn't pull in all the dust. Anything with a fan would pull in dust and ruin all that equipment. So dust-free means there's no more dust in the building. Air conditioning's been running, filters have been changed, all the rooms have been cleaned, and we can bring the equipment in now, and it will operate without pulling in all of that construction dust. If you don't do that first, all the equipment goes bad. That's dust-free. That's when you hear that, that's us trying to protect the equipment. So that's one of the primary goals. The whole point here is to get everybody on the same page before the equipment shows up. Make sure the door has the path for the equipment is right, that the stub-ups for power and water and electricity and data and all the components are where they're supposed to be. The steel is coming off the wall so the steamers can go in proper placement. All of that is facility ready. Once that's done, we get to do the cool part. We get to install it. And installing, and again, we're playing in a bit of an ideal world here, because it never gets installed this way, right? It doesn't really get to, there's pieces that have to go in early, and there's parts that come in late, and there's components that we can put in, and then we have to wait. So this is just an easy sort of way to get you through that these steps have to happen, and they have to be monitored. But the point of this, of in-field, obviously, in-field installation is the parts where all the components, the lighting we discussed, and the media, and all those pieces find their way into their proper location in the field. That they're installed, that they're mounted in the right parts. That's when the construction site gets probably, or at least on a show production, probably becomes the most chaotic, isn't that moment. That's when all the trades are in the space and everyone is installing their components. That's when most of the Western shouting occurs, because that's when they're trying to, all those tradesmen are trying to get their components in. Subject matter experts in the field. This is a term we've been pushing regularly. A, because we're subject matter experts, and B, there needs to be more subject matter experts in the field. Across all of them, not just us, all of them. There just needs to be more subject matter experts in the field. It's how this region and every developing industry area works, right? We're just as our Disney folks shared yesterday. They bring the experts over from WDI, they train the locals, and they go home. And now we have the smarts here, and that's the point. The whole point is to empower the vendors here, to empower the tradesmen here to know how to do this, so that when we go home, the local owners can call a local manufacturer to have these parts warranted and maintained and properly operating. We need to build the region here. Every time a light bulb needs to be changed, we can't see somebody on an airplane. It just can't work that way. It's not sustainable. So subject matter experts, how these parts work, where they go, known by locals. Why? There. Reduce the impact on the schedule and the budget. That's it, that's the reality. Right? It goes in faster so he knows how to install it. And it lasts longer if it was installed right. And it'll last even longer if you maintain it. Very simple equation. Show programming. This one's mine. I hold this one sacred. I hold on to this as the end-all be-all. Why build a theater? Why put a show in if you don't allow the cast to rehearse? Why even do it? So the whole point is programming. You have to let the magic come together. Crane Dance was a great show because we were allowed to work for 30 days in a tent on the side of that river, making that work. If all that equipment had gone in and we flipped the switch on, it would have been a spectacularly horrible show. So you have to program it. You have to let the whole process that you've approved it, every one of those steps happen. You've approved the renderings, you've approved the drawings, you've approved the meeting, you've watched the animatics, you've nitpicked every component all the way within an inch of its life. Now you have to let it actually happen. That's programming. Opening is, I'm moving quickly here. I'm gonna look quickly. All right, so that's show programming, pulls all the pieces together, makes all the magic happen. This is where integration is, every integration component is completely and tested to prove that it's worked. This is where we know that all of that has happened. This is when the show becomes the show. This is when reality kicks in. Opening for us is a bit of a different term because it generally means that there's obviously the process of bringing the audience into the space changes the dynamic just a bit. So the whole point of what are the goals of the opening, what are the requirements of the opening versus what are the requirements of ongoing, meaning are we opening a version now and is it changing, is it a show that has to change out? All those kind of components go into what opening looks like and what opening sounds like. Quality assurance and operation handover. So that one is one that we're still pushing pretty heavily in this region. It's still a new idea of what show quality is and how you maintain that. But essentially show quality is that it looks as good on day one as it does on day 501, and then on 5,001, and then 50,001. So it's always that the quality is there, that it stays in that ability, that it stays that way, and that it's